everybody. Welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. I'm Michael Finkley. Today is July 17th, 2020. Y'all, it's Friday. We made it through a work week. Do something with yourself or do something with your family, your friends, your loved ones. You deserve it. Take some time off and just enjoy yourself. Okay? If you not have already, please hit that subscribe button to our YouTube channel and ring that bell for notifications, and you will receive email about content that we have uploaded new content. Okay? So again, thank you to all the viewers and subscribers out there that have supported us in our endeavors and making sure that you're informed, you're educated, and you're inspired. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, we are interviewing a political figure in the state of South Carolina. She is a mom. She is an attorney. She is a wife. She is the first African-American female to sit on the city council within the city of Columbia, South Carolina. I'm talking about none other than Councilwoman, Councilwoman Tamika Isaac Devine. Take a look. Who is Tamika Isaac Devine? Councilwoman, entrepreneur, attorney, wife, mother. She's been breaking barriers for years and she's not stopping anytime soon. When we return, you will hear more from Councilwoman Tamika Isaac Devine when it comes to family, when it comes to the COVID-19, and also what does she plan to do in the future? More to come. We'll be right back. Next, we chat with Councilwoman Tamika Isaac Devine. Don't you go away. On the next Michael Finkley, Monday, get ready to laugh, I promise you. We have social media sensation, actor, comedian Justin Brown with us as he talks more about his brand new podcast, Medium Popcorn, and comedian Dwayne Nettles as he talks more about his brand new podcast, Laughs and Hip Hop. Don't you dare miss the next Michael Finkley. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. I'm excited for this next guest. You may know her, you may see her on CNN. She works for the awesome city of Columbia as councilwoman, and she's going to tell her story, and it's a story like no other. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Councilwoman Tamika Isaac Devine.
Hi. Thank you so much, Michael, for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talking with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. So we're going to get right into it. So you have been breaking barriers for years. Okay, you are an attorney. You are a councilwoman, the first African American woman to actually be on this council for the city of Columbia, and business owner, entrepreneur, wife, mother, all these kind of good things. Have you always been here to achieve your goals? Have you always wanted to just be that person?
Yeah, I have always been someone who set goals for myself, and I've always been someone who has really pushed hard to get things. I laugh because I've always been, and this sounds weird, but I've always been the kind of eater who eats like all of one thing and then moves to the next and then moves to the next. And when I was a little girl, my daddy used to always tease me about that. I was like, why do you eat like that? That's just so strange. And one day, you remember back in the day, and I don't know if this still happens, but back in the day, there used to be that Dear Abby column in the newspaper.
Yes, ma'am.
And so my mom would read that. And one day she saw someone had written into Dear Abby about doing that, eating that way, and that Dear Abby's response to her was like, that shows you have the personality that you will not move to the next thing until you complete something else. And they said that's a very good success trait. And I was maybe about 10 or 11 when my mom read this, and so I laugh because I always think back to that's always kind of, I guess, been in my personality and my DNA to be somebody who does something, then sets another goal, and keeps going. I never really thought as a young person that I would be an elected official. I always wanted to be an attorney. So I was very determined. I knew like at 7 or 8 that I wanted to be a lawyer. And of course I always knew I would be a working mom and be some kind of successful at what I'm doing. But the whole thing now, being an entrepreneur and being an elected official, and going and doing things nationally and internationally, that wasn't necessarily things that I at a young age thought I'd do, but it doesn't surprise me that because I'm still continuing to set goals for myself. And that's what I push other people that I mentor and talk about, is how you can continue to set goals and keep pushing. And once you reach something else, set that another goal and keep moving.
Definitely, definitely. Yes, ma'am. So what are some of your influences? You say you set those goals, but what was that backing that kept you on track?
Hmm. I would say probably first thing is just my parents. I mean, growing up, they were always very supportive, always telling me that, you can do anything you set your mind to. And even understanding that even when things don't work out the way you want it to, there are life lessons to be learned from that.
Hmm.
And you need to enjoy the journey, and just let all that motivate you. But now I always tell people, and especially the clients that I work with, understanding your why is very important, to know what motivates you. And anybody who knows me knows that clearly my why is my family. I mean, I love my husband and my kids, and so family is first.
Hmm.
But keeping family first also means that I have to do what makes me happy, and that's why I strive so much professionally to do different things and more things, because I tell people a lot. I know a lot of, particularly women, but parents who say, I can't do this because I have young kids, or, they kind of use their kids as an excuse as to why they shouldn't do things. And I tell people, your kids actually need to be the excuse, as the reason why you should,
Hmm.
because you are not only telling them they can be and do anything that they want to do, but by going after your own goals and doing what makes you happy, you're actually modeling that for them, so that they can see that those things are possible. So that's kind of my motivation. And even today, even this week, I've been working hard, getting up early, doing a lot of work, so that we've been celebrating my middle child's birthday all week. And so
Good.
I've done that, really worked hard in the morning, so that my afternoons are really for them. And
Right.
that's really kind of motivates me to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and get some work done, because I know that I could take off at 2 or 3 and spend the rest of the afternoon with them.
Hmm. Awesome. I love it. Oh, I love this. And so you mentioned your family, your kids, your husband, Jamie. What's it like in the household of the Devines? Give me a typical day.
um, the typical day is atypical. I mean, we really
Mhm.
have no day that's the same. But I'll say again, I wake up really early. I'm more of a morning person. And so I wake up about 4:30 in the morning, depending on what I have on tap for that day. Especially now with, during COVID-19, and, when school ended at mid-March, I had to then become a teacher during the day. I say
Mhm.
now, in the summer, I'm a camp counselor during the day.
Oh.
So, but I still have a business to run, and so I
Right.
have to develop, deliver for my clients. And
Mhm.
so I get up early so I can do some work, hopefully get work out of the way by 10 or 11, and then can be with them during the day. um, Jamie and I, we kind of take turns as to who stays home, because we both work and we both have to work, and we both are public officials, so we've got stuff in the community to do. So we kind of take turns who stays home during the day. So right now it's not atypical, because we're still, in stay-at-home orders, and no camp, no school, that kind of thing. But the most part of the day is, us working, supporting the kids and what they need to do. But we really try in the afternoons, at least several days a week, to be, sitting at home together, having dinner together, having the conversation with our kids. So that's kind of like our typical day. I will tell you, I tell people all the time, is also, one of the things that people have to understand is that you can't look at other people and say, oh, wow, I wish I could do, this is wonderful. I love their life, or I love that. I mean, my brand is a divine life. I think that I love my life. I think I have an amazing life. But I tell people I deal with everything everybody else does. I got to do grocery shopping. I have, I have to wash clothes, and my house is not always clean. Actually, most of the time it's probably not clean because I have a 3-year-old around. And so a typical day in here is probably walking in, walking on Legos and, paint on the wall like my 3-year-old paints and writes on the wall. But it's also a house full of kind of love and helping each other as far as supporting our goals and our dreams and aspirations.
And so you touched on the wife aspect, the mom aspect. Now let's talk about the woman, the councilwoman. How long have you been doing this, and did you ever see yourself actually in this arena?
No, I didn't see myself. So I was first elected in 2002. So I have been a member of City Council since July. Actually, just hit 18 years at the beginning of this month, and I absolutely adore serving the citizens of Columbia. No, I didn't think I'd do this. I think because I'm a lawyer, and because I grew up as someone who worked in the community, I've always been very community oriented, but I've always been more of a worker bee. Like, I don't mind doing projects, getting my hands dirty, and I still do as a council person, which kind of makes me a little abnormal of some of our council members. The city staff actually jokingly calls me the projects council person because I always have an idea and I always want to do something different. But being community oriented, loving the law, I don't see it as weird that I moved into politics, but I never had a desire to be an elected official. But I've always had a desire to serve my community. And so as an attorney, I was seeing things in the community that I felt needed to be changed, needed a different viewpoint at the table. When I first ran for council, there were no Black women on city council. 18 years later, I'm still the only Black woman on our city council. We had no one at that time that was under the age of 50. And so I felt like we needed somebody who brought the different, ideas and viewpoints that I had to the table. And so I am somebody that my parents have always taught me that, instead of sitting back and complaining or saying somebody should do this, somebody should do that, I'm that somebody. I can be that somebody. And so I chose to run for office. I challenged a 16-year incumbent, and won by less than 200 votes. And like I said, been serving ever since. And it's just still is an amazing journey because I love being able to help my community. I love seeing the way the city has grown. And I love seeing the way we are able to, work on projects together. So it has really been a tremendous opportunity for me. I don't consider myself, although I've been here 18 years, I don't consider myself a career politician. I consider myself a public servant, and this is the capacity in which I believe, the Lord has led me to serve. People always ask, like, do you want to run for another office, higher office, that kind of thing. I never say never, but I also believe that local government is really where you can make a huge impact. And so that's why I love being where I am and I love serving. And when I feel like I'm not effective anymore, then I think it's time to go home. But right now, I'm really still enjoying what I do.
I love it. And you do so much. You've done a lot, almost 20 years. You've done so much. And I see that you really love your community. I follow you online a lot, and you do things on YouTube as well, like, community conversations and date night with the Devines. And what are some of your proudest moments since you've been a councilwoman?
Wow. I would say some of my proudest moments are some of the projects that I founded several years ago and are still going, and that even without me saying to the city staff, "Oh, it's time for us to plan this," they're like taking the ball rolling with it because they now consider it not, Councilwoman Devine's project, but a city project that shows that it will have a legacy even when I'm no longer in this position. One is Together We Can Read. I love that. That's a partnership we have with Richland One, where we go in and we get community volunteers to go into every single third grade class in Richland One and read a book, and then we give those students that book. And so not only are we sharing our love of reading with third graders, but we're also helping add to their home libraries. And some of these kids, this is the first and only book that they would have ever had that's like their own personal book. And so it just means a whole lot. Now when I see kids who started in the program, because the programs are going on about 14, 15 years now. So when I see kids who like are now graduated high school and they're like, oh, Miss Devine, you came to my class and read, you did Together We Can Read. It means so much.
Yeah.
So I love that project. I love the fact that we founded a domestic violence task force and eventually established a domestic violence court. We did that when I was first elected, so that's been there about 16 years or so. So I'm very proud of that as well. And then right now we're working on affordable housing solutions for our community, and that means a whole lot to me because I feel my husband works in housing. When I met him, he worked at the Columbia Housing Authority. So housing, having a quality, affordable housing in our city is really important to me. But being able to actually bring together a diverse group of people and address the needs of everybody, as far as from our homeless folks to the low wealth communities, to people who just have particular challenges that they're not, they're making barely minimum wage and can't live within the city because it's so high. Being able to address those concerns are really important. So I'm really proud of that as well.
But more to come. We'll be right back. Coming up, what's next for Tamika Isaac Devine? She shares. We'll be right back. The Finkley Experience is an education and consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. We assist parents and their students with the college process. We train school administrators, and we also partner with colleges and universities to assist with their first-generation population. To learn more about our consulting firm and to purchase our book and workbook, please visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com. Welcome back. We are still chatting with the one, the only Councilwoman, Tameika Isaac Devine, and she is just laying it all out on the line. We're talking about family, politics. Let's go into COVID. It basically hit us all, nationwide, worldwide. We're all suffering from it. So what are some of the decisions that you all have made as a council to keep the people of Columbia, South Carolina safe?
Well, I have to say that I am so proud to serve with the elected officials that I serve with. Through this on the state and national level, we've seen the way people have played politics with this deadly disease. And this is not about politics. This is about the way this disease affects people. And being able to make decisions based on the data and not based on, anybody's political persuasion or, someone telling you whatever. And so my colleagues, led by our great mayor, Steve Benjamin, we have been the leader, if I do say so myself, throughout the state on this. I mean, we were the second city to actually enact a stay-at-home order before the governor did so. And we did that primarily because we knew that this disease was hitting and it was spreading quickly and that we needed to shut things down so that hopefully people could stop spreading the disease as much and so that we would not see the overwhelming hospitalizations that unfortunately we're seeing now. And so we were the first state to do that. About 2 weeks after we did our stay-at-home order, the state actually did go to a stay-at-home order. And so we were glad that when the governor went that way. But then when the governor started lifting restrictions, we were limited by, state law to counter his order to allow businesses to open. So we couldn't do a stay-at-home order anymore. So what we did is we enacted a citywide wear a mask order, mandatory mask. We were the second city in the state to do that one. We were actually the first one to propose it, but Greenville actually did a less restrictive one the night before we did ours on an emergency basis. But we were the first citywide mask mandate order that was basically everybody had to wear a mask with, very limited exceptions wherever you were in the city. And so after we did that, then, other cities started following. And so now, and I've kind of lost count, I think we're up to about 40 something cities who may have mandatory mask orders. And so we've been really a leader in this. We also were the first ones to actually come up with financial assistance for the community. So we had financial assistance for our small businesses. So, you heard a lot going on the federal government, from the PPP loans and, the small business economic injury, disaster loans and things. But we came out before any of those were even available to small businesses, and came up with a small business forgivable loan program, which basically means if they stay in business, if they keep people employed, that the loan was forgivable. And so we were the first ones to come up with that kind of process. And then we were the first ones to actually partner with nonprofits to help people with rental assistance and that kind of thing. So we have been a leader. It's been a really tough issue to lead through. And now, we see, as things continue to open up, and, the president and the governor want schools to open up, because our city is not over education, we are limited as to what we can do. However, we've been working and talking with our school board members and offering any kind of support that we can, as far as them transitioning and what they might need to help continue to keep our kids and our teachers safe as they go back into the classroom. But it's just, I have to tell you, Michael, we have led through some tough times. I mean, we had the flood of 2015. We had the protests when the Confederate flag came down 5 years ago. But this year, between COVID, the racial unrest, this has been a very interesting year to be a city leader. But I think it also has been, it's taught us a lot about, again, leading based on what's right for the entire community, not just for a certain portion of the community, and not based on politics. And so I'm very proud of the work that we've done this year. We've got a lot of work to continue to do, but I'm proud that the city of Columbia has been a leader, and I can't say enough about the leader that our mayor, Steve Benjamin, has been in helping us just even navigate the tough conversations among ourselves.
Definitely, definitely, yes, ma'am. And so as the numbers to continue to increase,
Mhm.
and things that you're kind of projecting in the future, that the council is going to assist again in making the people of Columbia safe in this time.
Mm. Well, based on the data, and again, we look at the data, based on the data that we have, all projections are if things are going to get worse before they get better. I mean,
Right.
we have had, record number of hospitalizations over the last 2-3 weeks. We've seen, our case numbers go up, our deaths go up. And the hospitals are at about, 75, 78% capacity at this point. And so, as the city, we, again, unless the governor changes his order, we can't do a citywide shutdown anymore. But what we can do is look at, another curfew if we feel the need.
Mm-hmm.
And that curfew may, be something that we have to enact to keep people from congregating. We certainly can make sure that the city of Philadelphia issued, I think, earlier this week, saying that, they're not allowing any public events to be held with more than like 10 people until 2021. And so that's something that we may look at to try and limit, the congregation of people. So I think, so that we're not conflicting, so we're on good legal ground and not conflicting with the governor, we have to kind of assess what we do and how we do it. But we're ready. And they're tough decisions. I mean, I understand, especially with people in their businesses. I've had people say, if you do a shutdown order, it puts my business in risk. But if people are dying and you don't have customers to come to you, then your business will be at risk anyway. So, I reject the notion that you can't have strict restrictions and still have a
Mm-hmm.
good economy. If people are healthy and safe and workers are healthy and safe, the economy will take care of itself. So we're constantly meeting with the epidemiologists and DHEC and listening to the guidance that we're getting from medical professionals. And you'll see us probably, if the numbers warrant it, and unfortunately the numbers might say they do, if the numbers warrant it, I think you will see some more regulation coming from the city, but more importantly, you're going to see factual information coming from the city. I think we feel like our role really is to educate people about how this is, what this disease means. A lot of people, this, people weren't taking it seriously, and some people
Mm-hmm.
still aren't. So we
Correct.
feel our role is to educate people and encourage them to make good decisions based on the data, and so we'll continue to do that as well.
Exactly. Exactly. You are so good at anything that you touch. You
Thank you.
really, really, really are. So what's next? What's next for Tamika? What's next?
Wow. Well, I think really what's next for Tamika, like I said, I love the public service. So I'm going to continue what I do as far as public service.
Mhm.
Next year, I would have been a partner in my law firm for 20 years, and
Oh.
I love what I do legal wise. You know, I
Mhm.
do mainly real estate and probate, which is flexible, so it allows me to 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 work hard for a few days and maybe take some days off. And so I'm really looking at continuing to build my other business, my consulting and coaching and speaking business. I've always had a passion for women's empowerment, particularly. But the last few years since I've started my business and really started working with professionals who are also working parents and helping them navigate work-life integration strategies, and how do they continue to build their career while they are still maintaining a family first lifestyle. um, it has grown, and I'm getting more and more people reaching out to me to be a speaker, to be a consultant, to be a
Mhm.
coach. And so I really like that. So I really would love to see within the next year or so, my this business actually probably being the major source of my time. Not I'll still be a councilwoman. I'll still, have my legal practice, but I'm building a practice that's not requiring as much of my physical time, so that
Mhm.
it frees me up to do more of what I love. And I think that in this season in my life, I think God really does want me to be more of an inspiration to working parents, to show them that you can still be a very active, engaged, parent. And even with Jamie and I, what we do with date night with the Divines and stuff, I think being out there showing, real good, positive, strong Black marriages is really
Mhm.
important. So being
Mhm.
able to kind of build that part of my brand, um, is what's next for me. And I really, it's growing on its own. So imagine if I start putting more attention into it, I think in the next year, that's probably what you're going to see me doing more of.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I love this. Encouraging words. We always end my sessions with encouraging words. So, what would you say to someone that has a dream but doesn't know how to start? That's part one. And then also, two, in the aspect of just in this time that we're living in, encouraging words.
Okay. So I guess I would say the first one, kind of, and I had looked up because I had to think what's behind me. And so I love, this is my little, and it's so funny. It's like a really like a little closet, but this is my home office that I had to establish in
I
the years
saw
of
that in one of your videos.
coronavirus.
Yeah.
But anyway, but it says set goals, push yourself, and move. And that's really the advice I give people about if they have a, goal and you haven't got started. I mean, the first step is to take that step, is to do it. I mean, that's the only time you're going to fail is if you don't try. And
Right.
so I'd say just keep going and understand, like what I said before, even if it doesn't work out exactly the way you want, even if there's something that you don't, quote, fail at, right, you're going to learn a lot from that failure. So just push yourself and just start. And then the second advice, based on where we are, is I would tell people that, God doesn't give us anything that we can't get through.
Amen.
And this year, 2020, I think, it's, to me, it's amazing because everybody woke up on January 1st and was like, oh, 2020, the year of perfect vision and all this
Right.
other stuff. Everybody had all these great things. I had a lot of big goals that completely changed because of COVID. So we had, the COVID, we've had, George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor. And so what that has opened up as far as racial reckoning in this country, and then now another wave of COVID, or the end of the re-emerging of the second of the first wave. So what I would say is that what this year might also be teaching us is that we are resilient, that life will send you
Yes.
and they will knock you down in a heartbeat. I mean, it will change and turn you upside down and you won't even know what's coming. But you are strong enough to get through it, and God is not going to give us anything that we can't get through. But maybe also what he is telling us is that sometimes you got to just stay still and focus on him and sit back and let him kind of direct your path. And I think if we do that more, we will not only show our resilience, but we'll also probably, new things will be unveiled to us that we hadn't even thought of ourselves.
Mhm. You preaching right now. Man, that's a word. That's a word. Y'all heard it here first. It was our trial sermon, y'all. You heard it. Y'all. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Devine, for being with us today and sharing your story and sharing your wisdom with us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Congratulations on this amazing show. And if I can ever do anything more to support you and what you're doing, I love what you're doing as far as education and young people. And so I just pray God's continued blessings on you and thank you for being, a person that is inspiring and motivating and educating people in this platform.
Thank you so much. On the next Michael Finkley, Monday, get ready to laugh, I promise you. We have social media sensation, actor, comedian Justin Brown with us as he talks more about his brand new podcast, Medium Popcorn, and comedian Dwayne Nettles as he talks more about his brand new podcast, Laughs and Hip Hop. Don't you dare miss the next Michael Finkley. Hello everybody, welcome back. So I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Councilwoman Tamika Devine. She laid some awesome jewels. She gave a little bit more insight about herself and what she is going to do and what she's done. It was an exciting interview. Thank you again, Councilwoman, for being on today, and we really appreciate you for all that you do for the city of Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, on the next Michael Finkley show, y'all, Monday, get ready to laugh. Y'all, when I did this interview, I was cracking up the entire time. I'm telling you, we have to laugh during this time of coronavirus. We have to laugh during this time of what we're going through, just day to day. Laughter is good for the soul. It's just like medicine, as the Bible states. So, Monday, two comedians, okay? We have Mr. Justin Brown and we have Mr. Dwayne Nettles. They're going to talk about their upbringing, the start, and also, too, the projects they're working on current day. It's a show you don't want to miss, okay? Again, if you have not, subscribe to our YouTube channel and ring that bell for notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you Monday. Have a good weekend.